Turn me up. This is
coming to you from the heart of the Pacific, brought to you by Paulie by Design.
respected at all times.
Broadcasting from San Francisco, California, the city by the bay.
It's about to go down.
We shine on positive Pacific Islander role models every Sunday.
Party on a Sunday.
From 10 a.m. to noon, it's time for the iconic Faika podcast with your hosts,
Listening to
Naki and Carl.
What's up, Naki?
What's up, Carl?
We got help this morning.
We need help.
We got help this morning.
We need help.
We have Melodi Masaniai with us
Yay.
here on the show. She's with us every Sunday morning anyway, but you always say, well, why don't we just bring
her
on?
in?
Bring her in since she's here anyway. So we have Melodi with us. She's going to ride with us the entire show. So we're going to have our check-ins. She's going to be a part of that. And then in the back half, we're going to hear specifically about things that she's doing, things that she's done, and Bling Auntie. What does that mean? We're going to get to that. So this is season 5, episode 49 of the Faika broadcast. Let's see. Today we have a guest host on with us, Melodi. And we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Friday at noon, Pacific Daylight Time. Naki became officially TikTok famous as her
Lord.
Snacky with Naki video went over 1 million views. Not a whole bunch of those out there. So we are going to talk about Snacky with Naki specifically, where are we at with round 16? And then we're going to talk about being TikTok famous.
Lord.
And yeah, Naki's not a big fan of that segment.
I'm not.
But it's a segment of the show nonetheless. If we got time, we're going to talk about the Giants that went over 100 wins this week, still in first place, still 2 games ahead of the Dodgers. They lead that matchup, the head-to-head matchup, 10-9. So they can only lose, and they don't play each other again. So the head-to-head series is going to end 10-9 Giants. They have the remaining teams they got to play kind of set the plate for a NL West division title. Hopefully that works out. And I'm a little bit haterish of the mainstream media. Maybe now they'll finally talk about us. We're the only ones with 100 wins this season. And we're peaking 8 games away from the end of the season. So, Giants still going strong. We have, I think that we got our check-ins. We're going to hear from Bling Auntie and things that she's going on, and we may see her again later this week. So that's our show today. Naki, what's up?
Good morning. Good morning, Melody. I'm so happy to see you this morning. And Melody has so much going on, so we're going to get to everything amazing that she does in the second half. Of course, the first half, we're going to check in, like Carl said. Good morning to Maury, who's checking in on Facebook. Good morning, Maury. So this week, crazy busy week. And then I took my hair to work with me. So I was walking around telling everybody, look, I got it. Because they would look, I'd walk through the door and then they bubble eye and look at me, but we're quiet. And then I just start cracking up and I go, yeah, I got new hair.
You and your hair palling around all week.
Me and my best friend now. Me and my best friend have been walking around the building at work. And so all the time I run into somebody, I go, look, I got new hair. And then they're like, yeah, nice. They're in shock that I'm talking about it. So I'm getting used to it.
That kind of takes the edge off, right? Because if you don't say anything about it, then they're like, do I say something?
Yeah.
So it's probably you're making things easier for them.
Yeah. I think it makes it easier too. So I'm just like, I got new hair. So check me out next week. I'll probably have highlights and a little shorter. I'm trying different looks because my daughter is getting married in November. And so I don't know if I want to be bald or I don't know if I want to be blonde or dark hair or red hair. So I've got until November.
So many options.
Yes, so many options. So this week, who was it? PIWI-PEV, Pacific Islander Wellness Initiative. They had a Tylenol for Wednesday or for wellness, and so I went to go check them out. I think that was Friday.
Yep.
I checked in, and that was run by Salote and Ruthie, who are with Rams over there in Hayward, California. And so it was just like it was Suicide Prevention Month. We're coming to the end of Suicide Prevention Month. So we talked about suicide and mental health, and it was a really good segment. And it was Friday at 6 p.m. And so their next one is this Friday at 6 p.m. So they said to bring a friend. So I'm inviting you all to join me me and hit me up. I'll give you the link. And so it was a really good session. It's, again, another safe place, safe space where you could talk about anything and everything and feel safe. They played some videos and some data about PIs and suicide, which is really alarming. And so Ruthie and Salata did a really good job. So I encourage everyone, if you're in the mood and want to release some stress, to join us Friday. And then Essence of Mana had their community advisory board meeting, CAB. I think that was on Friday too, maybe Thursday. I can't remember what day.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Essence of Mana, they do their quarterly check-in of what's going on, what they're up to. And so they usually have the parenting class geared towards Pacific Islanders. And so you can join anytime. It's really good. Natalie is part of that PEV group. So hi, Natalie. We missed you on Friday. Yes.
Natalie on our show.
Natalie's on. Natalie Asun, who is part of Rams, who is the Rams woman. And so we checked in. I was just talking about PEV's Tylenol for wellness, which was a really good thing. And I'll be bringing friends, Natalie. I'll be bringing friends for Ruthie and Salote.
It's a +1.
It's a
next
plus
time.
2.
So have you ever known anybody that's committed suicide?
I have. I've known people who have committed suicide. It's a really sad all the way around. You know that there's mental health that could have, how could we have helped them had we known? But you have to talk about it. And
I've known a few people, and it always, and this is something that I think we need to think of as a community. Is it always surprised? Like, I knew they had mental issues,
right?
You know what I mean? The depression, or I knew they were facing some kind of demon, but when I heard that they had committed suicide, it was always one of those, I didn't know it was that bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, if you know people, if you're yourself, if you're experiencing those kind of things, it's so important to get help because, I played softball with a guy that committed suicide, and he was quiet, but he was, and we knew, there was mental health issues there. He was seeing a psychiatrist, but he had bouts with depression and those kind of things.
Right.
But when we found out that he had committed suicide, everybody was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Like, so those are the kind of things of being available for people,
right?
When they want to, be that person where people can feel comfortable talking to you, because you probably aren't going to get the warning sign. Hey, it's going to happen.
Oh yeah. I mean, and Melody, have you had any, I don't know, experience or have known anybody? I think what we talked about was just being nice. Like, you never know what somebody is going through. Right. So just the hi and the hug and the shake your hand and how you doing can go a long way.
Exactly. I had 2 close friends in high school. So that's kind of where it began. And then earlier this month, a friend, acquaintance, a former colleague of mine, of many of us in the Sacramento political community, and it was a shocker for a lot of people. As Carl was saying, for some of us, it wasn't a shock because, we had an idea of the struggles, and there were key words that would come out from time to time. But the tributes just come and come and come. His closest circle of friends were struggling for years, and now are struggling in a different way of, am I helping this person? Am I enabling this person?
Right.
And so that's kind of where their stage of grief is right now. It's
hard.
It's so hard.
I think and that's being an enabler is so much easier, right? Like, if you're not helping or confronting things, and it's that, right? When do you want to be supportive, and then when does supportive turn into, now I'm enabling, I'm not really being supportive? That's a tough role to play, and it's one that really you've got to be conscious of. Just like Melody had said, you got to know, when am I on the line? When am I going a little too far and enabling the behavior? But yeah, those are the kind of things that just, when people have gone, I've been in that seat of like, wow, I knew they had problems, but I didn't think it was that serious.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And COVID really has, for this one individual, but I think also for others, where people who want to hide the sorrow, the sadness, the depression from the outside world, we can go live. We can do a Facebook post. Oh, my life is great.
Yes.
But then be in that depression in our solitude where nobody can see right now. It's like a different layer of challenges.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's hard in today's day and age of social media. It's like the persona that you play online, the images, like everything's great, not a lot of people are going to be sharing like today sucked, like it was a bad day, or you have some people that do that all the time, so then you don't really take it, you don't think too much about it. But yeah, that's social media. I mean, most people are portraying a life a little bit different than the life they actually lead.
Yeah. So the thing that I took away from Tylenol for Wellness was just be nice to everyone and anyone you come in contact, because you never know what somebody is going through. So I really enjoyed Tylenol for Wellness with the PEV team, and then the CAB with Essence of Mana, which is Asian American Recovery Services. That group there, they got funding for 4 more years, so
Nice.
that's awesome.
Congratulations.
They have the parenting class and Tylenol Tuesday, which happens every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So I was happy for them, and then it just it was a really good meeting. It's like an update, like a public update of what's going on with Essence of Mana, and then Snacky with Nacky is going crazy. Like so I just post the video on our social medias, and we get a handful of people, which is awesome. And that view the video. And so I posted it on my TikTok because I love TikTok. And then I uploaded it like late at night, and I went to bed, and I woke up and it was like 17,000 views. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's awesome. And then,
because if we get to like 50, we're going to celebrate.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate at 50,000 views. And it just kept going and going and going and going. And then by, I don't know what day, it was like at 1 million views. And then I think this morning I checked it, it's 1.1 million views. And it's like going crazy viral. And tons of people, which I love, have been donating 50 cents. And so I love, like, our people get crazy with the, $20, which I totally appreciate. And we take anything, but I just don't want it. I always say this every week. I don't want it to be a bill for you. Like 50 cents, you can afford to give up, you know what I mean? And so tons of people have been donating 50 cents. And so I'm so grateful. And we've got like $611 so far, and 50 cents. And so we'll go this weekend to go eat and tip an essential worker. So I'm happy about that. But my thing, I was like stressing out all week, is because on TikTok, they have these trolls that come on and just make negative remarks. And I'm like, oh gosh. Why are you so mean?
So Nacky's, we're talking to Nacky's like, these people are driving me nuts. And, I'd been on my phone pretty much the whole week. I was in the car a lot this week. And so I finally got to a computer and I went through the comments and I was like, what? There's like very few comments in there, and they're troll comments.
Mm-hmm.
But there is the post after post of like, this made my day. Oh my gosh, I'm crying. What a blessing. She was so blessed. She was so happy to receive that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a piece of the video that I didn't even catch the first time. I don't know if Nacky did, but a poster, someone on TikTok said, hey, when you were saying like we have a podcast and she asked all of her followers to give 50 cents, she was reaching in her pocket. The waitress was going to find 50 cents to give to Nacky because she thought, oh, that's great, I'll contribute to that.
Yeah.
It just puts that video that much more in your feels when you're like, that lady was going to find 50 cents. She doesn't even listen to the podcast. And she was going to give 50 cents. So there's just, literally thousands of positive comments, and then and sprinkled in there is God blesses those who give in private or something.
Yeah,
It's like, well, then
yeah,
why are you making a publicly negative comment? Like, are
right.
you even listening to yourself? But there's just people that aren't happy with their own lives. So they'll, chip in with like, why do you video it?
Right.
And it's like, are you paying attention? Are you that tone deaf? You're on a thread where there's thousands of people
I
that are saying, wow,
know.
this is amazing. This made my day. And you're asking, why do we do that? Because we can share the moment with thousands of people and they can get, something positive out of it. Those there were so few and far between. It was really amazing. And so many people talk about Naki being, an angel and her.
Lord have mercy. If they only knew. If they only knew.
But yeah, congratulations to Snacky with Naki as a program, as an entity itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, Naki's the one that's championing that. It's her face that's on there, but it's the gift of hundreds of people that she's carrying to gift somebody with.
Yeah, I love Snacky with Nacky because it's the community that gives, together, and we just go and I just go eat and deliver the message. But I really love the feel and how it's grown. Like I thought I would get like, I don't know, $50 or $20, and it just grew into this crazy amount. So grateful, and we love everyone that donates and tips, and so we are grateful for that. Christine Mawia is on Facebook this morning. Good morning, sister. So she is with AMU, and every September they also do a 50 cents donation for whatever they collect in the month of September. In December, it's Cancer Awareness Month, and so they take all the money that they raise in September, and they find families and gift them, $200, $100, whatever that they feel to give the family. So they also are doing a great service to the community and helping people with cancer, help them get to the next week to feed their family, get gas to get to chemo. So you never know what families are going through. And if you want to give, it's All My Usos on Venmo and Cash App. So great job, sister, that they're doing, All My Usos are doing this month to raise money for Cancer Awareness Month.
And Naki and I were the recipient of that in our old studio.
God, drove me nuts with that.
They kicked the door down at our break. So this is how tied in we are with All My Usos. They know when our break is. We're going to play a song. There's going to be a break. So in our old studio, we had a break, and the minute the music started, the door flung open, and it was Soma and Elliot.
Yeah.
There with the gift that they were giving to Naki and I for our journey, our bouts with cancer. So we know what it's like to be on the receiving end. Naki had some choice words for them as they came.
I was like, you mother blah. Do not.
And then the tears came. Yeah. She was just mad because she knew she was going to cry. But All My Usos does some amazing things.
Yeah.
We love
so
them.
yeah, I go follow them on all social media outlets. But that was my week. I have more stuff to talk about, of course, but I will pass it on to Carl. How was your week?
Oh, my week was good. Probably highlights of my week. I ended up going to Bakersfield to see a naturopathic doctor. And early on in my journey with cancer in 2015, while I was going through chemo, I went to a naturopathic doctor, Dr. Cowan in San Francisco, and none of it was covered by insurance.
That's crazy.
It was more of, we were just searching. Like I went to a massage person just to explore that. I went to a medical marijuana because at the time it wasn't legal, only with a medical card.
Yes.
I went to a doctor that was prescribing marijuana to get like, what's the picture look like? Then we went to a naturopathic doctor. None of those were covered by insurance. So this last week we got recommended a naturopathic doctor, and he was in Bakersfield.
Oh,
and
wow.
so this is like my wife and I have always been looking like, make sure that we're looking at all options. Like we're not tied into anything. We want to make sure that we're open to receive all blessings in my cancer journey. So she had made the appointment, and I knew about this doctor and I knew what was going on, why we were doing it. We get down there and we park in the parking lot, and I look up on the wall of the building, and it says Dignity Health. I was like, is this covered by insurance? And she
Mhm.
said, yeah, it is covered by insurance.
Nice.
And so the whole appointment, all I could think of is I was sitting there talking to the doctor, and the doctor is asking things that our primaries should be asking. What stresses you out? What do you eat when you're stressed? How does that make you feel? What are the foods you're eating early in the day? What are the foods you're eating? All of these things that should be what health officials and what a doctor should be asking. I'm having those conversations with them, the same kind of conversations that I had with Dr. Cowan in San Francisco 6 or 7 years ago, but it's covered by insurance this time. So as I was going through that, I just kept having this feeling of gratitude of like, wow, not only are these things out here, they're now covered by, there's more that's covered by insurance than there has been in the past. Because insurance, I think, is everybody's, everybody loves to complain about insurance,
Right.
myself included. But in this particular instance, I felt so blessed to have not only that available to me for my health, but, I've paid for a lot of stuff on my own without
Mhm.
insurance as I've gone through cancer. And to know that this was actually covered mainstream, it
Right.
was like going to the dentist or going to your primary doctor.
Right.
And having true health conversations just blew me away. The whole rest of the week, I was just grateful for how many blessings are out there for me.
Nice.
Let's see. So I went back. So I went to Bakersfield on Tuesday, came back on Wednesday. And then on Friday, I went back down to Fresno to see one of my friends that used to work with me. He now works at Rite Aid, and another guy that worked with me for years at Tower Records and Big Lots. So I went back down on Friday to hang out with them. And Saturday morning, we were going to go do some stuff. We weren't even sure exactly what. We were going to hang out, but then I got a text message from my cousin that my aunt, who's 96, was in a bad way. So I came back from Fresno on Saturday morning, and then spent the afternoon and the early evening with my aunt and my cousins, and we just sat. And she kind of, I think she knows sometimes where she's at.
Yeah.
She's not talking at this point,
Mm.
but she's coherent at certain parts.
Mhm.
So we just all sat around the bed and told stories to her about
Nice.
how she's changed our lives, good times we've
Mhm.
had with her. Christmases where she did this, or she took us to Disneyland, or those kind of things. So it was just hours of telling stories to somebody who's, hearing us at some points and
Yeah.
then falling asleep. So it was a great family moment
Yeah.
to be there at that point.
It's a blessing to have to be able to say the words to while she's still here.
Right.
We do a lot of that after someone has passed and we talk, but I think that's a great blessing that you were given to actually go and sit and talk to her and ensure or let her know for sure how much you love her, and you get to see how much she loves you and share stories. So that's really beautiful that you got to do that.
Yeah, she didn't like acknowledge a lot, but when I walked up, took my mask off and I said, "Hey, sassy lady, got
Yeah.
everybody in your room. You're the center of attention." And she smiled and kind of, moved her mouth a little bit and reached
Yeah.
out. So there's points that I think she knows what's going on. Other
Yeah.
points she's just resting.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Sorry to hear about your aunt.
Yeah, and she's 96. She lived a long life, and that's what I was telling
Yes.
her last night. Look, your work's done here. You got
Right.
beautiful kids, beautiful grandkids,
Right.
beautiful great grandkids. There is nothing more that you need to do. Your brothers are waiting for you.
Yeah.
Your mom and dad are there waiting for you.
Right.
And she would smile,
Yeah.
and kind of give her little acknowledgments at certain points. But it was a good time for the mostly cousins. It was more of
Yeah.
my generation that was there. And yeah, it was just good moments,
Nice.
good minutes.
Awesome. Yay. That's a good check-in.
Yeah.
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 Melody, how was your week?
My week was fabulous.
Yay.
I am in between my temporary position at the county working for the Registrar of Voters. That's all behind me. Somebody else is still processing stuff, but it's not me. And then I start my new job at Public Health on October 4th.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about the program that I know really nothing about. Um, but it sounds, the bullet points sound great to me. But we have kind of in the processing, we have for when I went to work for the hospital at O'Connor during COVID because they needed help. And then for public health now, there's a process where one must pass through the gauntlet of employee health screening.
Ah.
So, do you have all your antibodies, your vaccinations? Are you healthy to work in the position that you've been assigned to? Um, uh, eye test. Can you see
Mm.
colors? Like these are very important ingredients, apparently. So Monday, I went for my employee health screening with the nurse, and all of my documentation was still in the computer on my end in Ready Set from when I worked at O'Connor last year. So I just updated everything and called ahead, and they said, "Oh yes, we've seen the updates. Oh, this is wonderful." Okay, just it's going too well. It's just
Yeah.
it's too smooth. So then Tuesday, I got a call. Oh, and by the way, okay, so I had already answered these questions. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, I got a phone call. Oh, and by the way, what about this? I had answered these questions. I had answered the questions on the computer. I answered the questions in the interview. I answered the questions to the lady who called yesterday. Could we make sure that we get my answers to these questions into the record? Okay,
Right.
because my official start date and whether I start or not is conditional, is conditioned on me getting through this gauntlet. So I want these records up. Let's go.
Now.
Right? And she assured me, and the kindest, oh yes, I'm competent. And she gave me the idea that she had authority and competence and everything would be fine after this phone call. Then Thursday, I get the phone call. Melody, we just have a couple of questions. So I just, okay, let me put myself in the right mind and I'm just going to answer the questions and surrender to this. And here go the questions. And then as soon as we hung up, my phone rang again. It was a different lady in the same office. Melody, we have these
Oh
questions.
my gosh.
So uh it's not as disorganized on the back end my experience would lead you to believe. The county right now is hiring at such a rate of new hires. Last year, they did a voluntary separation agreement for all the
Mm.
retirees who wanted to retire, the nurses, the staff, everybody who was kind of worn out from the COVID work and that kind of thing. Anybody who wants to go could go, and there was a financial incentive for that. So there's a lot of hiring, somewhat to replace and somewhat just because now we know that COVID's going to be here a little bit longer than we thought. Just to what do we need to stabilize as a program going forward?
Uh,
So that really, there were other things that happened, I'm sure, but that was like my laser focus was on getting myself into that position for October 4th, Monday. Let's go.
yeah. That's awesome. They need to get it together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What are you gonna do? It's not this Monday because it's the 20th, so it's the week after.
Correct. I got one more week.
Awesome, awesome. I know we're gonna go into everything amazing that you do after the break, but go ahead.
What do you have planned for the week? So you got a week between now and the start date. Do you have anything planned special for yourself, or are you just all getting ready for the start?
I'm getting ready for the start, wardrobe wise, it's like the change of season, so it's going to be colder. So I'm, like preparing in that way, like Boy Scout, Girl Scout kind of preparation techniques. And then I had really neglected Bling Auntie for almost the entire summer, definitely August and September entirely. So I'm just trying to get some things established because Christmas is coming. So I'm just skipping over some parts and get the infrastructure ready so some of it can run on auto. Yes.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
I have people I have to answer questions. I have no idea, but you're going to help me.
Okay. We're going to help you.
We're
Yeah,
in.
you are.
We're in.
Yeah, you are.
We're in. We're in.
100%. So we've got, I think we're going to head to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Bling Auntie, and we're going to get, I want to talk about the studio that she's got there. She's got the setup that I would call a studio. She's got graphics on both sides of her, and then she's got some important things directly behind her in that corner that we're going to talk about. So we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Bling Auntie.
What's wrong? You gotta stay strong and know that everything will be alright. Sit back and cool, do what you do. Start to rearrange your mind. I'm tired of facing these temptations, wondering will I ever make it. Sit back and cool, do what you do. Yeah, look. What would you do if you know when your time's up? Cause I probably go crazy, screaming life sucks. A crazy life, I probably couldn't even grind much. Gotta be patient with your cause, give it some time. Look, I'm on a different height, trying to live a different life. The game left, so I'm out here trying to get it right. All these clouds, man, clearing up my eyesight. Fresh air, sunny days, so I know it's alright. In the mood right. On a school night, living on the cool hype. Grown man business, ain't worried about what them fools like. I'm on another chapter, a life filled with laughter. The green money, my family, and yeah, that's what I'm after. I'm chasing dollars, chasing dreams. I done this out of love, putting hate out easily. I do this for my fam, was never in it for the streets. Tell them haters to relax, cause ain't no need for the beef. No matter what's wrong, you gotta stay strong and know that everything will be alright. Sit back and cool, do what you do. Start to rearrange your mind. I'm tired of facing these temptations, wondering will I ever make it. Sit back and cool, do what you do. Look, I'm tired of waking up seeing my pop stressing. Why he stressing? Cause his impression was to see my fam make it. He just wanna see he ain't wrong, it all depends on how you take it. Now when you make it, is you giving that man praise? You gotta humble yourself, my nigga, and get the picture. Spitting the truth without a point of liquor. Is you rolling bolo or rolling with you? My time saying time will tell. And I'm always on my grind for my family. Shit, I love them for real, nothing the less. Minding my own, the ease the stress, I ain't the best. But with the mic, I'm like a top chef, and it keep going. Finish lining in my shine yet. I ain't finna stop here. Punchlines will probably leave you dry quick. I gotta get it, I'm confident, cause my family, they knew I was ready. God's up keeping my game steady. And my whole fam heavy. And them haters feel like got them niggas feeling a little peanut butter jelly when I spit the realest quotes. And niggas probably hurt, trying to have my whole family flying in the birds. The ignorance around me ain't never being hurt. Smile with your chin up, forever feeling blessed, you heard. No matter what's wrong, you gotta stay strong and know that everything will be alright. Sit back and cool, do what you do. Start to rearrange your mind. I'm tired of facing these temptations, wondering will I ever make it. Sit back and cool, do what you do, and everything will fall in place.
And we're back. You're listening to the Faika broadcast. I'm Naki. With me, as always, is Carl.
Good morning, everybody. Love the theme to Snacky with Nacky music there.
Right. Yes, cut it out. And we have our special guest, the ever amazing Melodi Masaniai. Good morning, Melodi.
Good morning.
Can we hear? Okay, you got her. So Melodi is our special, amazing, crazy, amazing guest this morning, and she is living in California in East San Jose. She's a small business owner, recovering activist, and county worker. Melodi serves on the City of San Jose Anti-Displacement Stakeholder Advisory Committee, examining community opportunity to purchase act. Did I get that right?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Copa.
Yes, Copa. Melody recently finished her work on the President Barack Obama Boulevard Committee. Congratulations in San Jose. The dedication ceremony was held August 21st at the SAP Center. The boulevard runs from 280 North past SAP Center. And the inaugural march dedication ceremony was raised through private donations. No taxpayer money was used. So that's awesome. In 2020, Melody joined the Bay Area Pacific Islander Coalition, representing Santa Clara County. The organization's goal was to disaggregate, my favorite word, disaggregate the NHPI data from Asian American numbers in the county's COVID-19 dashboard, which was accomplished in short order. So Melody's an activist, overturned the California Democratic Party's resolution in support of birthright citizenship for U.S. nationals born in American Samoa, a year-long struggle with the help of Dallas Te'o. Woo woo! After an 11-year career in high tech, 8 years serving Nobel laureates at Stanford Linear Accelerator Center, whoa, and 10 years as a successful political activist and consultant, Melody has started a small business, home base, not small. We don't say small. She started a business, a growing business as Bling Auntie, selling gorgeous $5 fashion jewelry for men, women, gender non-binary, and children. We wish her luck, and she's going to be starting her new job soon. So we just wanted to welcome Melody to the Faika broadcast. Good morning.
Thank you so
Oh my
much.
gosh, you've done so much, but we want to get into everything that you've been doing. Tell us how you came about the Barack Obama Boulevard. Like, how did that start? Did you how did that committee start? How did you get on it?
The committee the effort began with a column that the founder, Alex Shore, had written in a newspaper in San Jose, just saying, "Hey, there should be a monument somewhere in San Jose honoring the first Black president." And from that moment to the dedication, it was 4 years. So then it became a committee. He said, "Oh, Helen, you come help me. Mary, you come help me." And the committee kind of grew, and as they realized what other kind of focus that committee needed in order to succeed, then they brought on additional members. Helen Sims is the chair of the committee, and she and I were part of the original founding members of Silicon Valley for Obama in 2007. So we're OG. So, people had come onto the campaign in 2007. We always knew. People came onto the campaign in 2008 when John Edwards dropped out. People came onto the campaign in the general after the primary. And so we kind of have markers, like there's a specific flavor for each person, but every person, no matter when you came, no matter why you came, everyone is welcome. And, that's just, I wanted to recapture that feeling. I think Helen and Mary did too. Mary Noel is I believe she's former school board member now, but Helen's husband, who's now passed, and Mary Noel's husband were part of Dr. Harry Edwards at San Jose State University. So if you are familiar with that milieu and the legacy of Dr. Harry Edwards, they are part of that group. And then we continued to grow. And so I did the political pieces, and I had a very small piece, a little bit of fundraising, not much really, a lot of in the background getting the political support. And when we brought the idea to city council, like the ground was prepared already, and everyone was receptive. There were no hesitation or purpose of evasion, as they say. and it went through council on consent calendar, which is of course, ideal. So it was unanimous. And then it was just a matter of putting the dedication ceremony together, like no big deal. But then also COVID. Were we going to be able to have it inside the SAP center, outside the SAP center, mass, no mass? There was one point at which we thought we were just going to have to cancel the dedication and save it till 2022. But the theme in our committee is, I want this done before I die. I want to be able to be there at this dedication ceremony. So, I have like 2 or 3 of us have heart problems. We could go at any minute. Like, we don't know if we're going to be here when we wake up in the morning. So it kind of started as a joke, and then it became very serious. We want this dedication to be done before, and we all, COVID, everything, families, everything. It's God's grace. We all live to see the day.
Yeah, I think that's at 20, 25, 30, those things where I want to see it happen. I want to see this in my day isn't really a thing when you're young. You know what I mean? You get to the point where you're like, hey, I've got, life's finite. There's a period where I'm not going to be here. Those things of like, no, I want to see this happen. I don't want to, have it in place and starting to happen. If I go, I want to actually see the event. I want to see the ceremony. I want to hear the words being spoken. Those are, all big things. And so you're living with health concerns where, hey, I've got to be conscious about that. Has that changed so you're in the public sector, you're in public health, you've done political activism, so you've always had kind of a broad reach in the jobs and the passions that you've followed. Has that changed at all with the health concerns, or has that just been how you've been your whole way?
It is completely changed. So my first heart attack was in April of 2017, and that's really when I began to make the shift away from when you have congestive heart failure, being passionate about immigration or being passionate, and living and dying by a committee meeting or a city council meeting or just getting the news or having to work so hard. It's 16-hour days. It's 20 days in a row without a day off. It's not conducive to taking your pills on time, the pills that you're supposed to take before you lay down for the statins and stuff. You have to I had to get my life on a regular routine. With the health insurance, I needed a more stable condition where I had good health insurance. And access to those doctors consistently, because I need the refills. There are 3 pills that I take. If I miss a day, I'm at risk. So I got to have the refills. I can't miss a day. I can't stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning anymore and then wake up at 8 and take it's a huge consideration.
Yeah.
Because it's a hard life and there's not a lot of money in it.
Right.
You got to find your own happiness, right?
Exactly.
And so if it's going to make you happy and
Right.
fulfilled to do things, you got to pay bills still. But at the same time, if money's what drives you, you may end up doing things, you know what I mean, that don't ethically or morally end up in alignment with yourself.
Right.
And the health insurance is really a big deal.
Huge.
I mean, I've always been fairly libertarian in my political beliefs, but there's pockets that I am completely anti-libertarian. So like the public land, national parks, national forests, those kind of things, the libertarian would say, no, those should be privately owned. Those shouldn't be owned by the government. I love that there's national parks and forests and things that are protected and can't be bought by, I don't know, an oil company or something. So in my libertarian circles, people are like, how can you support that? Because I don't have a one size fits all, like doesn't fit me. And the same with health insurance. I think that the health insurance piece, probably, affected by cancer and being a cancer survivor and having medicine that costs literally $12,000 a month. Like, how long could I afford to live if I had to pay $12,000 a month? Not a whole, long time if I'm footing the bill for that. So that piece, the healthcare piece, I'm definitely not, of the mind that it should be completely private funded and free market kind of things. Have you seen movements in the political arena? Have you seen changes now that we have a different president in place? Do you think that the movement is still as progressive as it was before Trump left office, and then we had a Democrat in place, or do you think the progressiveness is still there for us?
That's a really good question. So I think that a president can only be as progressive or conservative, or uh, somewhere in between or somewhere on the outer edges of those ideas, the rails, the guardrails, as the Congress he or she has. So, for example, um, former President Barack Obama, he should have done this, he should have done that, he should have done another thing. Okay, but the Congress wasn't going to come with him. He can't just he's not a king, he's not an emperor, he's not, doesn't have a magic wand. He is, um, he must work cooperatively with the Congress, and that is how our country is structured. With former President Trump, the backstop was Speaker Pelosi, and then later it was Majority Leader Schumer. I think that President Joe Biden was very well prepared. He had run 3 or 4 times for president. He was, I believe, truly a partner with former President Barack Obama in that administration. So he was, I feel, very prepared. He brought in many of the cabinet members or sub-cabinet members to be in his cabinet, and then he has both chambers of the Congress. So he's going to be able to do right now what's going through is the infrastructure bill and the other bill. So I think that's how we all look at it. They are not tied. I got a briefing from a federal lobbyist earlier this week. They are not tied. One can pass without the other. They could both pass. They could both not pass. But they are tied 100% in both parties, in the Congress, in the White House. They're both tied politically, right? But this is going to be, these two bills will be to President Biden what the American Rescue and Reinvestment Act and the Healthcare Reform Acts were to former President Barack Obama. This is going to be the flagship. You've got really 2 years to get your true agenda, your highest priority through the Congress. Then you're going to lose the House. Then you're going to lose the Senate. So these 2 years are what we're seeing, what President Biden feels our nation needs, what will make it stronger, that influx of money into the economy, which worked very nicely under former President Obama. So I don't know. I think there's room right now because there are reasonable people, even though the headlines say otherwise, there are reasonable people in the Congress who really do care about our country. So I think that kind of after President Obama and after President Trump, that Congress itself is more willing to be reasonable and to work together if you look at each member individually.
I think you're right. I think the mid-year elections will swing the other direction, and it'll end up like you said. Naki's bored to tears with the political talk.
I'm learning.
She's ready to talk about jewelry and Tommy Two-Tone, 8675309, or whatever it is beyond the politics. Let's talk about Bling Ante and the business, because that's the kind of thing that if you're going to be successful in politics and public health and those kind of things, your there's going to be an entrepreneurial spirit of somehow how to get people to, see things a certain way, how to get people to understand your opinion. So business, your own business would kind of go hand in hand with that. If you're good at one, you're probably good at the other. Yours in particular is costume jewelry. And this is where I'm, getting out of politics. I'm going to hand it over to Naki and let her lead the discussion about earrings and all the different things that you have.
Yeah, I don't mind the conversation about politics because I always learn something new, and Carl teaches me something new like every week. But with Bling Auntie, tell us how you got started with that and how you got the name.
So as I was easing out of my life of activism, one of the things, because I don't think it needs to be said in this venue, but for anyone watching who may not normally watch, any room that I have been in since I was born, I'm usually the only Samoan. I'm usually the only Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, right? So I had, in some of the activities, I was the Samoan bouncer. And I would like to say that I'm really very well skilled. If you need a bouncer, I'm good at it. And I just stand there and look at you. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to say anything. I just stand there and look at you.
Give you the look.
Exactly. So that evolved into, and as I got a little bit older, I was like, oh, I think I'm auntie now. Am I old enough to be auntie? Okay. So that turned into your Samoan auntie. And then when I signed up for paparazzi, I said, oh, of course, I didn't even have to think about it. I didn't have to think about the branding or the name it's what I am. I'm Bling Auntie. Very easy. All the domains were available. So I bought all the domains. I did all the things. I got the email address, it was like it was waiting for me. But I signed up with it to help my cousin. I had never heard of paparazzi. A lot of people, when I became a consultant, they're, oh, good for you. Oh, my friend is, I know all about it. And I had never heard of it. But my cousin Rachel was, I have to identify specifically which cousin I'm talking about because it wasn't Moy. So my cousin Rachel had signed up and she was looking for people to sign up under her. I had been a very good customer. And they said, well, and that was the approach she took. She said, Melody, you're such a good customer. You could buy this yourself at cost. You're paying me $5. You could buy it at $2.75, and then you could be under me. You don't have to sell it. Okay. So I signed up under her, and what I didn't know, I've never met Rachel. She's up in Washington State. So as we're kind of getting to know each other through the business, I found out that the person she signed up under is also a cousin, and then the person she signed up under is also a cousin. I'm like, okay, I had seen the names, but I had no idea how we were related. So it's all beautiful. What I enjoy most about it, and like the jewelry is just the fun stuff, right?
Right.
You as a consultant, as a customer, either way, whichever way, you get that package in the mail, you open it up. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I can't
I'm
wait
so
to wear it.
happy.
Like today, this necklace, this whole vibe that I got going on absolutely does not go with my shirt and my weekend hair and all this other stuff, right? It's like stupid, but it's stupid. But I just love this, and I hadn't
It's
worn it yet, and I'm
beautiful.
like, oh, let me wear. Oh, I can wear it today because you can't,
Because you can.
because you can't. But the true blessing is that we are in the group upline situation of probably 80% of us are Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander.
Nice.
So the upline of my upline, and all the things, all the generations, and we understand how these generations work because of
Mhm.
how we're taught about our families. And the one woman, every paparazzi accessories consultant in Hawaii is under her.
Wow.
I know. So it kind of got me started thinking about a Chamber of Commerce situation for Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders, because we do business and we're taught through our leadership in this small pocket of the paparazzi consultants. We conduct ourselves as we would on Tutuila or in Pongo Pongo or in Maui or
Mhm.
something. So we talk to one another that way. We relate to one another that way. Where's my flip flop? We, discipline one another. You know better. You shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
And it's such a different experience for me. It's like the experience that I never knew I always wanted.
Mm.
So there's just that added. I don't even care if I don't make any money, because you got to sell a lot of $5 jewelry to actually make money. But I don't even care if I never make money. I just enjoy that experience with my fellow summer aunties, summer grandmas, and it's very fulfilling to me in that way.
That's awesome that you are enjoying it. I think that's the most important thing, that you're enjoying it. Yay. I found you on Instagram, Bling Auntie. So we'll put that up, Menners. You can find her on Instagram at Bling Auntie. And then if you want to get a hold of Melody, find her on Instagram and Facebook. And then get your jewelry,
Thank you.
Do you go? So some people go live, and they do like a show where
Mhm.
they're showing their merchandise. Do you do any? Do you do that? Where would we find you, or your product? Because I know you got domain names and you have screen names and those kind of things. Where do we find you at?
I will be live tonight at 5:30, because I figured if I put makeup on today, that I may as well just keep going, keep that momentum going before I wash off the makeup. And then I am the live will be broadcast simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube. And I think I have it set up on Twitter, because Twitter has now gotten rid of Periscope and we can broadcast directly onto Twitter. Um, and then I have a shop in the Facebook shops that I fixed yesterday. So that was part of my what am I doing in between the jobs, is I finally fixed my Facebook product shop. And there's some fun things. The shirt I didn't wear today says classy, but I cuss a little,
Oh, I love that shirt.
because I felt that was really more truth in advertising. So I apologize in advance. I try, and I believe I have been 99.9% cuss free in all my shows. But if you see a cuss, I apologize. Please forgive me. He ain't through with me yet. He's still working on me.
Trust me, girl, I'm a work in progress too. Like I get bleeped on Island City, apparently. I was like, oh, my bad.
Right. So I want to mention something to Carl. Which Tower Records did you work at?
So I started in Sacramento. I started at the Watt Avenue store, and then I got promoted to a kind of a junior district manager position in South Sacramento, and then I got my first district position in Hawaii. So I was on Oahu for a little over 3 years, 93 to 96, I think. And then I came back and worked out of the corporate office until 2002.
Right.
So my favorite store was Columbus and Bay. I had an office actually across the street where the classical store was. So across from the Columbus and Bay Tower Record store was the annex, and I had an office there in that building, and that was probably the most fun Tower Records that I worked at, was Columbus and Bay. But I loved all the San Francisco, Stonestown, Market Noi. Market was an adventure. That store was awesome. But yeah, the three in San Francisco were the most fun.
I started at San Mateo.
The Wow store.
outside of Hillsdale's Mall
Mm-hmm.
in 94. And then I got to move to, and this is how I think this is, you tell me if I'm right, that everybody gets told this story. Then I got transferred to Russ Solomon's favorite store in Mountain View, the Mountain View store, where all the 49ers would drop by.
Yeah. So the Mountain View store was Russ's favorite. One of the reasons it was his favorite everybody talked about the Sunset store on Sunset Strip. And that's maybe the most well-known Tower Records store, but the actual highest volume store on the West Coast was Mountain View. That was the highest volume Tower Records on the West Coast, including all the stores in Southern California. Mountain View was a huge, other than the couple New York stores, Mountain View was one of the most big sales stores in the chain.
Wow. So that was true.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought they were just like trying to get us to go there. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that was true. That's awesome.
Yeah, there was a legend of about that if you walked in Russ's office with a tie on, he was not a fan of, looking all business like that. He would cut it off of you if you wore a tie into his office. So in like 98 or 99, we had a meeting where we brought, people in from around the world. And the guy that came from Piccadilly Square from London had a tie on. And we were going to Russ's office, and I was thinking, ooh, I get to see whether this is actually true or not. Is Russ going to cut the tie off of him? And, is that going to actually happen? Because I'd heard of it. 10 years there, I'd heard it. Oh, yeah, it'll happen. So we get in there, and there's about 7 or 8 of us in there, and we start doing introductions. So we're kind of going around the room. I'm from Sacramento. He knew who I was. There are a couple of people he already knew. So when it got to me, I was like, hey, Russ, you know me, I'm blah, blah, blah. And so it got to, his name was Russell. And so Russell says, I'm Russell from Piccadilly Square. We opened the store 2 years ago. And Russ Solomon, said, nice to meet you. And then he continued going down to the next person. Next person introduced himself. And I'm thinking, that legend is not true. So the next person introduces himself. And then before the person after that introduces himself, Russ says, hey, can I interrupt for a second? And then he pointed back at Russell and he goes, that is a really beautiful tie. Did you get that in London? And he said, yeah, I did get that in London. He goes, I don't get to London as much as I used to. Can I have that? And so he didn't cut the tie off of him, but he did ask for it. And he did end up taking the tie away from him, but he asked for it. He didn't actually cut it off with a pair of scissors. So if you ever hear the story of Russ Solomon cutting ties off in his office, I never saw him use a pair of scissors, but I did see him ask politely to have it.
Nice.
But so how long did you work at that was a WoW store. You had a Good Guys on one side and a Tower Records on the other, right?
In the San Mateo location, yeah. And in Mountain View, about, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year, we had the Grateful Dead fans camping outside for weeks on end, especially because we were in such close proximity to the amphitheater.
Yep.
I forget even what it's called anymore.
That's what we call it, just the amphitheater.
Yeah. But it was probably, it was one of the jobs where I felt the most free. My hair was blonde. I was young and thin and thought I knew everything, girl. It was where I got my first computer experience because we were going into the IBM ATXT and ET. I don't know what the third one was.
You all had some huge in-stores there. I think around that time, Smashing Pumpkins. I remember that was a huge one at Mountain View. But being the biggest store on the West Coast, you guys had some huge in-stores. I'm sure you had big bands coming through there doing signings.
We did, and then each person. So the person in the opera section was actually an opera singer who had a following himself. And the person in each department, including books, including video, that was like, they were so passionate about it. They were knowledge, when people talk about product knowledge, I just laugh because, nobody had product knowledge the way we did at Tower. You had specialties, And I miss it, but it was a great experience, and I've taken lessons that I learned that I didn't know I learned into every job I've ever had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when Carl talks about tower, it's his most favorite
By far.
job that he's ever had. So it's kind of cool to hear somebody else that has a tower record experience.
Mackie always, because I was working out of either the regional office or the territory office, I'd get, free concert tickets and
Yeah.
backstage passes
Like,
and all
you
those kind of
lucky
things.
I didn't know you back then, because I'd have been at every concert. I've been, my cousin works here. My cousin works here.
Good times. That was a wonderful company. Didn't grow fast enough, so I think the industry grew out from underneath Tower, and Tower didn't keep up. But the 10 years I was there was the most fun I've had at a company.
Yeah, definitely.
I love to hear his Tower Records stories, because he had lunch or dinner with Lionel Richie and
A dinner with Lionel Richie.
yeah, other people that may or may not have been nice. But I love hearing those stories, and so
Well, and we always were more, because in San Mateo and Mountain View, because the stores are close enough together. They're not close together, but they're close enough together. We would have the 49ers come in and do autographs.
nice.
And it was, at that time, it was Keena Turner, Jerry Rice. There was a third one. They were a trio. Like, they were friends. I think their houses were next door to each other in San Mateo, but there were the three of them. Oh yeah, we'll sign autographs. And then Jeff Smith came through, and that would be an event.
That's nice.
Yeah, and the assistant manager, it was her job to get sports figures in, which I thought was a great
What a job, right?
technique. Yeah. Oh, she loved it. She was good at it. She really was.
We had an in-store at Stonestown Mall where Usher was supposed to be there at 1, didn't show up till 3. I had the security director from the mall yelling, going, you can't say somebody's going to be here at 1 and then they get here. It was like 2:00, and I was like, you ever heard the term rock star? Like, this is literally a rock star. Usher's going to get here whenever Usher wants to get here. He got there 2 hours late, signed autographs for like half an hour, and left. There was literally thousands of kids there. So I wasn't a big Usher fan after that. But you get to see some of that, the other side of, sometimes people. I had, people that were just Hootie and the Blowfish. Darius Rucker was. We had thousands of kids in line at the Columbus and Bay store, and he said, "We're signing everybody," and he was new. And so everybody who'd done an in-store before was like, "Oh, that's cute." Like the new guy thinking, we're going to sign everybody. And he looked at his band manager, and his manager was like, "We're signing everybody." And they were there like 4 hours.
Oh, that's nice.
Signing autographs. So you get both
I
sides.
love Hootie.
Darius Rucker was a cool guy.
Yeah.
And he was, like I said, they were huge.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, if the people are coming to get signatures and meet us, we're going to meet them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like those kind of stories.
I love that.
I love that.
Or what was Willie Nelson? Because obviously Willie Nelson likes to smoke pot. So the people that came to get his autograph were bringing pot. They're bringing
him pot.
They're bringing him buds, handing him to him, doing the Godfather handshake. And I was like, I told his band manager, I'm all, look, you guys can get it from them in line, but when they're at the table, we're open for business. That's a little obvious of what's going on there. So just don't do it like right at the table. And he was completely cool with that. He was like, okay, we'll do it. Willie took a break, went out to his bus in the parking lot, smoked, and then came back and finished everybody.
That's awesome.
Right.
That's awesome. Cool. Did you have any other questions, Melody, or we gonna give you your Sunday back?
I need help with something.
Oh, okay.
So, and I want to do a full disclosure. So where the Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Santa Clara County Facebook is, that's kind of all there is to it.
Mm.
And on the task force that Melissa had put together,
Melissa
Natane
Natane.
Jones.
yes, and
Uh-huh.
I know I'm saying the wrong terminology when I say task force.
But we know what you're saying.
We're a
We know what
regional
we're-
coalition, I think.
There you go.
I think it's coalition. Danny O.C. Perez was
yes.
also part of it. So as Danny and I were the only ones from Santa Clara County. And then sadly,
He passed.
Rest in
yes,
peace.
very sadly. So it kind of, I keep the Facebook page active as best I can, hoping and praying that someday someone will come along and say that they have been called by God to take this over and that they have better connections in the community. Like if you have any connections in the community, that's better than what I have. So I get an email every once in a while. But this one I got last night and I thought, haha, funny Lord. Funny Lord, I get the idea. I'm supposed to say this. So if you'll permit me to read
Yes.
from this email, it's from the Santa Clara County Office of Education, and I'll just read it. I am interested in learning more about the Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Coalition. The Santa Clara County Office of Education has an Asian American and Pacific Islander Educators Network. We will be working on a toolkit for educators to know more about the history of AAPI in Santa Clara County. I'm interested in knowing if anyone from your coalition would be interested in the toolkit project or joining our network meeting. The goals of this year's meetings are to develop broader and deeper knowledge of the local AAPI history and community, develop a toolkit for educators, teachers, and administrators to support them in education and identify development of AAPI students. These topics will be discussed at meetings and resources will be available for educators to apply in their context to support AAPI students. 1. Immigration and diaspora history and now, local geography, physical and community space, education, and identity. And I know what a lot of those words mean, but I'm definitely not the person to participate in this. So I'm hoping that someone who would be perfect to participate with the Santa Clara County Office of Education would reach out to me, and I'll forward the contact information to the author of the email, and we could get you connected.
Awesome. And what's the Facebook page one more time?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm tap dancing.
We can definitely get.
I'm
I mean,
tap
that's what
dancing.
we do. We meet a lot of people.
Yeah, we can
and
share the page. and-
anything to support anything that Danny O.C. Perez was involved
Exactly.
in.
Please, exactly.
We're huge fans. We remain huge fans
Yes,
of
we love
Danny's Perez
Danny.
and Danny's dreams. And, you know, that was one of those where, you know, when I heard he had passed, it was one of those, it was just hard to think of him not being, you know, not being here and
Right.
doing the things that he did and affecting as many people's lives as he did. It was
Yeah.
just, it took me a long time
Yeah,
to
it's
get my
the
arms around that.
Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander NHPI Coalition, Santa Clara County.
Thank you. You got it. Perfect.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, we'll share the page, and please, everyone, go like and follow, and let's support our Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Santa Clara Coalition.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we can talk offline if there's things that we can do,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, to be involved with that or make connections because, yeah, we're all over in the peninsula in San Jose. So
Awesome. Thank you, Melody. Well,
Excellent.
time has gone and come and left us. And so we appreciate your time this morning. And thank you so much. And good luck at your new job.
Thank you.
And good luck with Bling Auntie. We love that. I'll be tuning in because I love jewelry. But
Thanks for hanging out.
thank
and
you for hanging out
Mackie
with
may be
us.
stalking you sooner
I
than you
know.
think for the next time.
For the jewelry. Thank you, Melody. Have a great week.
you.
And thank you for tuning in. Come back to FICO with us. We're here tomorrow, Koviki Talk at 5 p.m. Wednesday, Island City at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Download the Dash Radio app and search Island City. We'll be back here every Sunday, 10 a.m. Come back to FICO with us.
Love y'all.